live last week or anything, or 2 weeks
We
ago?
can. Hey guys, we're live. It's Ted Bogert. We're back with the Ted Show. And I'm back with this series, Fierce Forward, with the one and only Cindy DeCoster. Happy Monday, Cindy. How's it going?
Happy Monday, Ted. Great. How was your week kicking
Everything's
off?
good. I'm looking at the gorgeous sunshine up here. Very excited. Had a good weekend. Raring for a big week this week. So I love kicking off our Mondays with this Fierce Forward every Monday.
Yeah. So catch everybody up on you and your exciting. I was just asking you offline about your grandson and time in the blizzard that is Texas.
It was so crazy. We went to my 30th wedding anniversary was that week, and then my grandson turned 1, and so we went, and Fort Worth got its insane amount of snow, and everything was shut down. My daughter had no power, no water. Thank God we were safe in a hotel with a generator, and we ate a lot of peanut butter crackers and chips.
So cute.
But it was lovely. I was so glad to get out. We got out right between when the one blizzard ended and the day or two of the snow melting and the next blizzard started. So very happy to be back in sunny Florida.
Well, we are back. We are loving having you back in sunny Florida. So
well, thank you. And how about you? Things are good. Sorry, we had to postpone Fierce Forward for a week or two, but we are back. And I love this topic. I love anything that has to do with influence and impact and teamwork.
Yeah.
And hey, Eleonora, good morning. And so I absolutely love this topic. So before we take a deep dive, though, tell them a little bit. We got a lot of questions about cindyforthecouncil.com before we went live.
Okay.
So give them a little bit of info about you, and then we'll take a deep dive.
Okay, super. So I'm Cindy DeCoster. I am the co-owner of Fierce Realty with my husband, Sean. I am running for the National Treasurer position for Women's Council of Realtors, the 2022 National Treasurer. And so Cindy for the council, Cindy the number 4, and my internet is not cooperating with us. Again, that's Cindy, the number 4, thecouncil.com. There's a website to that, as well as my Facebook page that just tells you a little bit about where I've been, what I've done, and how I want to fierce forward with you all into 2022. So
Ooh, I can't believe we're talking about 2022.
I know.
It was insane. I just can't believe it. But we all plan. You have to. You get slated for that, right? That's how it works.
Yes, thank you.
And so, Women's
sure.
Council has made such a big impact on both of our lives, I believe.
Truly.
And so I love seeing you get involved and be involved, wanting to be involved, especially on the national level.
Yeah, thank you. I just feel that, everything with a purpose, right? So everything intentionally has led us to or led me to this place. And I say us because I feel like I'm taking you all with me. You have all been integral in my development and advancement. And I love that my trials and tribulations of life and experience is able to impact, influence, and inspire you to fierce forward, whatever next you're looking for. I'm all about helping you get there. And I think that's kind of like ties back into where this conversation started with impact, influence, and inspire, because oftentimes we just forget, that everything that we say and everything that we do is leaving an imprint on everybody's life and their business, future, personal. It doesn't matter. It's what better way to impact, influence, and inspire each other than by leading by example. So,
well, tell me about it, because I want to take a little deeper dive. Sure. Teamwork is something that we all talk about, and I think that people want to be part of a team. They want to figure out how to do better, because collaboration is such a powerful tool. And so that's really what teamwork is about, collaborating. The sum of the parts is, what is it called? The greater than the sum of the parts sometimes, or vice versa. And so But I think people get caught up, well, how do I become part of a team? What does that really mean? How do I become part of a team and make it happen and collaborate and yet still maintain my own identity and still maintain the goals that I want to accomplish?
I love that question because it's, it really does kind of make you go a little inward and say, what does it mean to be that? And what's funny is I often say I got into real estate to get out of management. Like that's a true statement. And then, fast forward 20 years later, here I am leading a company and running to be part of the leadership team of the National Women's Council of Realtors. And leadership and management are completely different. And so go back to the teamwork and collaboration versus it all happens kind of organically when you care so much about the organization or about the cause that the I doesn't matter anymore. Like the you part of that doesn't really exist because you're working for that common goal. You're working for the and product, not the inner one person, one thing, one moving part. Again, the sum of the total is more important than the individual piece. And so when you kind of take yourself out of the equation and just say like, hey, let's just have, I always call it a whiteboard moment. Like, let's just whiteboard this out. Let's think about it. Let's not edit until we're done. And then we can start editing. But getting everybody's ideas together. I think it was it's a Martin Luther King quote. And he said, it was so profound. I just loved it. And I think he said something about being able to foster an environment of collaboration rather than, it isn't about collaborating. It's about fostering an environment in which people can collaborate. That's what I'm about. Like, that's what I really stand for. I just, oftentimes I'm able to organize thoughts a little bit faster than the next person. So I end up being the talker. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Shocking, right? But true. So I'm able to kind of like, wait a minute, this is what I actually heard you say. Did I hear you correctly? Yes. And so I end up being that person that kind of organizes thoughts together and then presenting them out to the group. And I love that. And I think, right, we've been on enough committees together and worked towards multiple common goals that sometimes you need that person like, yeah, that's what I meant. You know what I mean?
Yes. And I think what you're saying is so critical. I think I would not be where I'm at if I didn't learn how to have the collaborative spirit about an approach to everything. Yeah. But that was a lesson I had to learn, like, because we're not really taught that. We're taught to share, but we're not necessarily taught to collaborate. And so collaboration for a lot of people is a foreign concept that sounds really good in theory, but then how do you do it? Because we're so used to doing things our own way, and we don't know how to talk things through, bounce things off, brainstorm. It takes a lot to kind of learn that task. But once you get it, once you know how powerful and how exponentially different it can impact everything you do, you want to embrace that all the time.
Totally. And I'll tell you the other I word that I love too is interpretation. So oftentimes, especially in real estate, we hear we need to learn this script for objection handling, and we need to learn this script for helping people, or for sale by owners or expired, blah, 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 right? And I'm one of those people that I always hated that word script, because I need you to understand really what's being said and how it's being said, so that you can respond to their concern or what have you. And if you are so scripted that you are not able to understand the misunderstanding or the lack of understanding, you can't really speak to their concern. Does that make sense?
Right. Yes. You're not. the empathy, the understanding,
Yes.
it's so critical. But it's I feel blessed because of the industry and the way I went to college and all things I got involved with. Collaboration, I was taught much earlier than I think a lot of people are. I feel like a lot of people are taught.
Agreed.
But how powerful. And so that's why when we talk about teamwork, I think people go, huh, what does that really mean? And how do I
Right.
really jump on that bandwagon, yet keep my own identity and the things that I want to do separate but part?
Correct. So there's accountability. So that speaks to a whole lot of things, because I think there's an accountability to the collective whole that you're kind of touching on, and then there's so staying accountable, being making sure that you do your job so that your job with the sum of the others equals the end product or the end result that you're looking for. And again, going back to that interpretation piece, if you can't speak to what they need, then they'll never quite understand. And then therefore the collaboration piece kind of gets missed and maybe understood as you're railroading or eliminating, but no, let's make sure that we're teaching, training, working towards the understanding of the end product.
Yes.
And so let me speak in a different language. Let me speak in a different, let me show you something different so that you are fostering that level of understanding, and then therefore they're able to collaborate at a higher level. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I think even me who loves collaboration, there are still times where I'm like, oh, I don't need to collaborate. I mean, it's just a human thing. And then every single time I kick myself because it always ends up being better when I just step outside my comfort zone and collaborate with
Always.
somebody. I don't know everything. Don't, Stacy, I swear to God, don't listen to that. I don't know everything, but I continue to learn. So guys, it's a learning process. It's a constant thing. Just because I feel like I'm a little further along on the collaboration scale doesn't mean that I don't still have work to do on a daily basis.
Right, for sure. Well, and again, I'll go back to, I think I said this before, it's all about the process. And if you trust the process, then it kind of, the result happens.
Yes. Agreed. It really does. And trusting the process is another thing that I think we could talk an entire hour about, because people hear that as well. And maybe we'll do that for the next show. People hear that term and they want to, but they don't. And then they don't know how to do it, and they don't know how to begin to believe in it or build that foundation so that they can trust it. And it sounds good in theory. And again, people just don't know how to acclimate to it.
Sure.
So I agree with you. All right. So let's talk about what happens when you influence people. Because, I love impact. I love influence. I love inspiration, obviously. But we never talk about influence because it's such a buzzword. Influencer. And then some people think of it as a negative connotation. Oh, I'm going to influence that person as if it's bad. So I want to focus on that word as we start to close out, because we had questions about it. What do you mean by influence? How does that work? And how do we integrate it?
Well, I like to think that, the quote that comes to mind is about not, how does it say? Something about, don't let the energy in the room influence your behavior.
Yes.
Instead, influence the energy in the room.
I love that quote.
So, and I think that's kind of where I am, where influence is concerned. So I would say Cindy 4.8 is way different than Cindy 2.0 ever was or ever thought she'd be, right? So back, when we were in our 20s, it was that was my college years. That was my get married and kind of launch my career years, right? And back then, I was highly influenced by the outside world. My mood was dependent on the interactions of my day, life, world, right? However, Cindy 4.8 is very much comfortable, like very comfortable in my own skin, and the my ability to control my moods. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
And therefore, if I want to have a good day, I am going to have a good day. And
damn it, I'm gonna have a good day.
Exactly. If cocktails are required to make that happen, we're gonna do that. You know.
Now you're talking.
But when you realize that you have the power to influence your environment, you do that. You make the moves, the actions, whether it is I am going to listen to nothing but motivational speeches for 20 minutes to get my mood switched. And believe me, we've had this conversation, like we have to sometimes like take control of like, okay, I need to silence this person. I need to stop hearing that. I need to close my blinds so that I don't have like moving targets across my window or whatever it is. Like you have the power to influence your own day, your own world, your own company, your own success. And so when we realize that influence, we can control that. Now it becomes maybe others need to hear what we're trials and tribulations, so that gives them permission to succeed anyway, or through whatever they're going through. And so when people tell me that I have inspired them to do more or be more, like, oh my gosh, it's like the hugest compliment ever, And so having that influence over others is kind of like, wow, you have to almost take stock and responsibility for that and say,
yes, you do.
I need to show up. I need to put in the work. I need to, what's the right word? I need to be intentional in my words and my actions, because they are influencing other people's their day, their world, their life. And so I take it very seriously. And if I am not having a great moment, then I need to do it offline and make sure that I am the person that deserves your vote and your respect. So that's That's what I want to focus my energy on, in making you feel good, feel better, feel fierce, and anything I can do to do that, I consider that my job.
All right. That was excellent. I love that conversation. Tell people where they can find you, how they can reach out to you, how can they learn more about Cindy for the Council. Okay,
thank you. Yeah. Facebook website is all Cindy, 4, thecouncil.com. Cindy for the Council minus the .com is my Facebook professional page. But yeah, connect with me. I would love the opportunity to share about the impact, influence, and inspiration that I have had in my life, and the impact, influence, and inspiration I'd like to be in yours. So look me up. I would absolutely love to connect with you, and anything I can do to help you fierce forward, that's my honor to do.
You can't have a more perfect show, start to finish. That was awesome. All right, Cindy DeCoster, cindyforthecouncil.com. We'll be back next week. I'm not sure exactly what we'll talk about, but I love this conversation, all our conversations. I love and appreciate you.
And I love and appreciate you. So thank you so much.
All right, guys, we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Reach out, Cindy.